Hello crafters and welcome to Technique Tuesday. I'm G and I am so excited to be with you today. We are all about borders. Are you looking for some creative ways to make the border on your card wow or really pop? Well, I have that for you today. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get started. Look at these borders that we have that we're going to be working with today. Are they not beautiful? Now let me show you what they look like when they're cut out. These borders are from Stampin' Up and they're called Elegant Border Dies, and there's the number. But look at how they cut into the paper. So pretty. Now you can cut into your card or you can cut it out and place it on your card. It all depends on how you run it through your embossing machine. So we are going to make 2 cards today, and let me just kind of show you the first one that we're going to make. Now make sure you stay with us because I have 2 more cards to show you after we make our cards today. Now look at this. We cut this border into the card. Isn't that beautiful? Just really makes this card pop. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and cut a top fold. And I want to remind you that all our measurements will be listed over on creativemomentsbyg.com under my blog. So you don't have to take any measurements down. We have our top fold card. And we're going to add our inside sentiment mat because that helps us see the border that we're going to cut into the card. So let's just get this laid down. Now these elegant borders are just so easy to use, but when you run it through your boss, you need to make sure you might need to put an extra shim in there. And all we're using is just an extra piece of cardstock. So let's go ahead and grab the border that we are going to use. And we are going to use this beautiful border. Now I want to show you about this border. On one edge, you can see that you have a ridge that is going to cut it completely out of the paper. So you want to make sure if you want to cut it into your card that you put that at the bottom. So we're going to line that up right down here. And all that means is it's going to cut out all these little pieces of paper, but it will leave it attached right here to your card. So let's grab some repositional tape and get this taped to our cardstock. Now what I like to do, a good tip, is put it on some grid paper or a grid map. And that way you can really get it lined up because I want this point right here, right in the center of my card. And I know that it's right there. So let's go ahead and just line that up. And we want spacing to be the same right here. And now let's just look at that and make sure that we have it spaced right. We do. So we're going to grab our embossing machine. Now we're going to lay this down right on our sandwich. But to make sure that it cuts all the way through, I'm going to put this extra shim on top of it. Now, this will just make sure all those little bits pop out and we don't have to sit here and just weed them out with our take your pick tool. So let's go ahead and run this through the machine. Now you can tell that this just falls apart because this is the cutting part of that border. And now you can just take off this die. And there we have it. If you have any extra pieces, just go ahead and pull them out. And look at this. Look how pretty that is. Now, you can also, if you wanted to make this higher up, you could cut it off right here and go ahead and just make it shorter. But for this card, we're just leaving it all the way down, just like this. Now we have a piece of paper that we want to put right here on the top. and we're making sure that we have a border all the way around. But first we're going to decorate it. And we are going to use color and contour. We love this flower. We don't know how much longer it's going to be in the catalog, but we absolutely love it. And because we're going to stamp off this mat right here, I'm going to go ahead and bring in a piece of paper so that we don't mess it up. So here are the colors we're going to use to decorate this card using elegant borders. We're going to use Old Olive, Polished Pink, Flirty Flamingo, and Fresh Freesia. Now I'm going to stamp the lighter color in the background of the flowers. And I'm going to use Polished Pink for the outline of the flowers. So let's stamp the outline first. Tap, tap, tap. So I'm really creating a background for this card. And now we're going to bring the inside of the flower. We're going to bring in our Flirty Flamingo. Now, a little tip for this stamp set. Do you see how I have those black dots? That helps me line up the flower. So I try to keep them going in the same direction, and then it's very easy to line them up. Okay. Now, for the inside of the flower, I'm just going to use Mango Melody. And now we need to add our leaves, and so we're going to bring in our Old Olive. And now we're going to add our dots on the front of our mat, and we're going to use our Fresh Freesia with that. So we have some dots, and we got those dots from our Thanks a Bunch stamp set. We have these cute little dots right here. And these dots just give it a little more interest. Okay, now we're going to bring in our card. Making sure that we have the same border at the top and the bottom. Now look how pretty that looks. And so easy to create, right? But we're not done yet because we need to go ahead and put our sentiment. We are going to stamp Happy Birthday. And to add some more depth to this that we're going to just put right on the front, we're going to just put some color right on the edge. And I think we will go ahead and tip it in Polished Pink. So what I like to do is I just take it and I dip it in. And look at that. Gives me a nice little border. Now let's go ahead and set that up on some dimensionals. And now we just need a few gems to make it pop. And look at the front of this card. Doesn't that border just make it pop? Love this card. You have plenty of room to write. So here is our first card using our elegant borders. Now let's go ahead and move into our second card. Now our second card just is a base card cut, just your normal size, side fold card, but we are going to cut this just a little bit so that it's raised up and we can add our sentiment down here. So let's go ahead and put our sentiment mat. What makes these borders so nice is that with little effort, you can make a really beautiful card that is so elegant and really has that wow factor, and it wasn't that hard, right? So now I went ahead and I cut this beautiful paper. Look at this. It has that gold in it. And we are going to put this right here, and it runs from side to side because we're going to use this beautiful border, and we are going to cut a little bit of it off. So I want to put it about right here. So once again, I'm going to use my grid mat, and I'm going to make sure that it is lined up and that we have about the same hanging over both sides, and I'm going to tape it to the front of my card. Okay, and that just falls away, the bottom part of the card. Now we lift this up, and you can just flick all these pieces out. And look at that. Beautiful. Now on this border, I did not have to use the shim. So really you just need to test your machine and test the border that you're using as to whether you have to use a shim or not. Now what I want on this card is I want this piece of paper to match this border, the curve of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this lined up, make sure it's lined up on my card, and I'm just going to place this back down right on my border, and I'm going to bring in a pencil, and I'm going to trace around it. And that way I have the exact curve of my border. Now I'm going to raise it up just a little because I want just a little border by itself. And now I know exactly where to cut it to make it match. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and now we can add this to the front of our card. And look at that. Just perfect. So let's lay that down. And look at that elegant card. Don't you love it? But we're not through. We are going to add some more elegance to these elegant borders. Now we went ahead and we cut out a circle using our gold paper. We're going to set that up on dimensionals. And we're going to set this right in the center of our card, just to really make that gold pop. Now we're going to bring in just some gold leaves that we cut out, and let's just begin by placing them. Now this will slide under here. So we need to go ahead and stamp our message. Tap, tap, tap. We're going to add this right in the center. And I'm adding it on dimensionals just in case I want to put something behind it. There we have it. Oh, look at that. Looking nice. Now let's go ahead and add some of our beautiful gold leaves that we just cut out. So we can add this behind it right there. So I'll just put a little glue. And you can use any leaves that you have just to create some interest. And look at the front of this card. So elegant, right? Now let's go ahead and stamp our message right here on the front. And there we have it. Look at that. Love these elegant borders. Now these two match, but I cut this one short and I left this one long. We also used one of the elegant borders to cut diagonally. And look at that. Very quick card because we simply cut out the flowers of our DSP. So when you have DSP that has flowers, go ahead, grab it and cut them out to use it because really the coloring is just so beautiful. And then we did this one. Now we double bordered this. We cut this design out twice in different colors and layered it. Look at that. Look how pretty those borders are. And finally, our second card is much like this one, but we love this paper just to really focus and make a spotlight out of certain flowers or a certain design. That's a great tip. Just color some of them when you have black and white DSP. So which is your favorite? Take a moment, leave a comment. We love to read your comments and they inspire us so much. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We appreciate you. We had so much fun on this Technique Tuesday. We want you to go out, make it a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.